Good morning, Saturday yoga. All levels. Grab your blocks, your straps, just in case. We got a request today for the physical practice of playing with some balance. Find a comfortable seat to start. Here's an extract from the book, Meditations from the Mats, Daily Reflections on the Path of Yoga. When we see ourselves as the center and separate from everyone and everything else, we have to continuously protect and guard the self. This is a quote by Zen master Dennis Genpo Mercel. New students tire more readily than experienced ones. One of the easiest ways for me to convince a new athletic student that there's something to yoga is to place her in class behind someone 20 years older than she is. 40 minutes later, the new athlete will be seated on the floor exhausted, watching a woman old enough to be her mother breezing through her practice. The difference between the two students is obvious. One has practiced longer than the other. But what does that mean? What has the older, more experienced student learned? With each visit to the mat, we develop an ever greater efficiency and economy of movement. The muscles that need work, work. The muscles that don't need work, don't. Hence, the flowing, graceful, effortless movements of an experienced yogi. The experienced student practices with an ever-increasing level of surrender. None of her energies are spent upholding or defending her sense of self. She simply does not fight against her physicality. She trusts, she breathes, she smiles into the presence, into the postures as they come up one at a time. She's learned to let go into the flow of life. Because she has come to understand her oneness with all things, her practice has become surrender in action. I love those last three words, surrender in action. How can we bring that beauty of surrender and action into our practice and be conscious when we're resisting or defending our sense of self? So find a comfortable seat. Allow a moment to settle and arrive. Observing what kind of energy is flowing through you right now, this moment. Feel your next deeper in-breath. Flow in. And listen to your next out breath flow out. Allowing your body to be a physical instrument, sort of like a flute. A channel for energy, life force, prana or chi, however you want to call it. To freely flow in and out. Let's bring the hands together at heart center. Pause a moment to bow in. Maybe set a dedication for your practice. Today, what does it mean to surrender to you? Let's open with a chant of Om. Take a deep belly breath. Allow your breath to slowly reach the top of the inhalation and slowly arrive at the bottom of the exhalation. Balancing your breath flow. And as you close your lips, invite a whispering sound, a gentle whispering sound, by softly constricting the back of your throat. Hearing the balance of your breath flow. Tuning into that, let's begin to rise up to stand. We did have a request to integrate some Tai Chi movements today, so let's begin with that. Connecting with your feet wider than hips width. Spread your toes and feel your weight descend onto the support of the earth. And as you inhale, raise your arms, looking up, acknowledging the open, vast sky above. Exhale, press your palms downward, feeling again the support of the earth. As you take one step back, start with your palms together in front of you, and inhale, open your arms slowly apart, tracing the horizon that is before you. As you step that foot forward again, slowly bring your palms together and towards your heart, acknowledging that there is a horizon within you. As you take 2 steps forward, palms facing forward, a symbol of acting in the world or giving, and 2 steps back, a symbol of receiving and observing the effects of your actions. Cross one palm in front of your chest as you twist, a gesture of sending your light to the world, and cross the other palm, a gesture of sending your love. As you embrace wide arms coming towards your heart center again, it's an act of embracing the tiger or life's challenges that have evolved you to now. And then regaining your grounding, press your palms towards the earth and stand tall as you return to the mountain of stability within you. Let's try that once more. Inhale, arms up towards the open sky above. Exhale, palms down, acknowledging the support of earth below. One step back, tracing the horizon that is before you. Take that step forward, bringing that horizon, palms together towards your heart, acknowledging that vastness within you. 2 steps forward, giving or acting, and 2 steps back, receiving or observing. One arm crosses in front, sending your light. The other arm crosses in front, sending your love. A giant embrace of the tiger, life's challenges. As you return, palms face down to the mountain of stability within you. Now take a slow step in the circle around you as you circle your arms from the outside world to the inside world. This symbol of acknowledging life cycles, nature cycles, the nature of impermanence. As you regain your footing from where you started, begin to tap your palms as you swing them right underneath your belly button. Chi source, life energy source. Twisting, breathing. Then bring your left hand to your heart center, your right hand to your navel center, stand tall. Imagine as though you could breathe in from the soles of your feet, energy supporting you from the earth, all the way up to your body, up to your crown, and even above your crown, rising towards the sky. And then exhaling through your nose, listen to that soft whisper again of your Ujjayi breath, victorious breathing. So step on up to the top of your mat and inhale, circle your arms overhead in mountain pose. As you bend your knees generously, exhale, bow forward and let your belly rest onto your thighs. Reach your hands behind your lower back and interlace your fingers. Spread your toes and shift your weight forward, lifting your chest, elongate your spine, breathe in here. Bend your elbows closer together as you exhale, hinge forward, dropping your skull completely. Let's hang here for a few breaths. Reach your arms forward, opening your chest. Lift your shoulders up, releasing your neck. Maybe even move your skull gently. Perhaps even straighten one leg and lean towards it. And then the other side too. Continue to nurture the feeling of balance of your breath in and out through your nose. And then from here, set your hands in the ground and to hands and knees, all fours. We're gonna give the wrists or the outer wrists a stretch. So once there, lean back onto your shins for a moment and make fists out of your hands. Gently press your fists against each other, then lean the backs of your fists onto your mat. Slowly lean your weight forward, finding just the amount of pressure you want to stretch into your outer wrists and forearms with. All the while, be aware if any tension starts to creep back your face, shoulders, or breath. Let your elbows gently apart off the mat. As you meet yourself where you are in your state of energy, physical, mental, emotional states, notice what that's going to look like for you in your physical practice as you honor your truth in the moment. So set your palms face down, and then we're going to lower onto our elbows, setting your elbows exactly each shoulder so that your forearms are parallel to each other, palms are flat. Then begin to walk your toes back until your legs are straight. Bring your feet together and breathe. Gaze on the floor just ahead of your thumbs and broaden your chest. Spread your shoulder blades apart. Breathe in. Breathe out. About 3 more breaths here. Notice as you firm your heels back, it's as though your tailbone was more actively lengthening back towards your inner heels. Feel a slight lift in your belly. Chest forward and broad. And as you exhale, lower your knees, lower your pelvis, arriving in Sphinx pose. Now you decide if you want to hold still or glance around you, just softly moving your head, stretching your neck. But all the while, feel that your ankles are your hips width apart. Point your toes actively back, pressing your heels towards your rear wall, so that your knees are actually not resting on the floor, but your pelvis, thighs, and tops of your feet are. Now take another in-breath and broaden your collarbones. Slightly lift your sternum while looking down ahead of your hands. Tuck your toes behind, press your heels back, bring your feet to touch. And as you're more active with your legs, engage your belly, push off your forearms, and lift your pelvis, returning to forearm plank. Breathe in. Exhale, that's 5. Inhale, broaden your chest, reach it forward. Exhale, 4. Inhale, feel your navel lift slightly towards your back. Exhale, 3. Inhale, firm your heels back, feet touching. Exhale, 2. Last deep breath, get long from the top of your head to your heels. Then set your knees down and come back to hands and knees, all fours. Spin your fingertips to turn out any degree to stretch your inner wrists and forearms, perhaps even pointing back at your knees. Inhale slowly into cow pose by gliding your spine forward before coiling your chest up. Exhale into cat pose by contracting your belly, dropping your skull as you round your back. Take about 4 more cycles on your own, nice and slow, feeling the gentle undulation of your spine. Mimicking the gentle, balanced waves of your breath. On your next exhalation, relax to a neutral spine and come into a modified plank pose. Wrists right under shoulders, knees right under hips. Straighten your right leg back and tuck the toes, firming the heel. Lift your navel, broaden your chest, look on the ground ahead of your hands. Then spin your right heel flat onto the ground, entering a modified side plank. If you'll need more support to balance, cross your left shin to the left so that it's perpendicular to your mat. Raise your right arm up and push the floor away with your left hand so that your left shoulder does not feel congested, but rather a little spacious. Breathe here. Maybe even explore lifting your right foot off the ground and flexing it, sort of like a half moon pose standing on your knee. If you're doing the latter and want to add on, try bending your right knee towards your belly, catching the top of your foot or ankle with your right hand, and begin to kick your right leg towards that half moon pose while pulling your foot towards your glute, opening the right side of your chest. Feel the strength of your belly drawing in, and let's take 2 or 3 more breaths. Feel your body expand in this posture. Now, if you're holding your right ankle or foot, slowly straighten your right leg, flex the foot, raise your right arm overhead. Option 1, place your right hand down first, then step your right foot outside of your right hand, lizard lunge. Option 2, add a little challenge getting into it and step your right foot first towards the upper right corner of your mat. Then plant your right hand inside of your right leg, lizard lunge. So make sure that you see your right knee stacking just above your right heel. It's not over bending in front of it. Then flex your right foot to stabilize your right knee while you flare open your right thigh, just leaning the outer edge of your foot on the floor. Now you could opt to lower onto your forearms here, adding some depth into your right outer hip. You could press your right hand on the inside of your right thigh, add a little bit of a twist as you look behind your right shoulder. Or you could even bend your left knee if it's reachable. Catch hold of the top of your foot with your right hand. Let's take about 4 more breaths. Gently scissor your right outer hip towards the rear of your mat as you're leaning your torso forward, tracing the midline of your mat. And then from here, let's return to hands and knees, all fours. Stacking your shoulders right over your wrists, hips right over your knees, gazing just past your hands, feel a lift of your navel, deep breaths. Straighten your left leg and tuck the toes, firming your left heel back. Keep a slight lift of your belly, broaden your chest forward. Then spin your left heel flat onto your mat, entering modified side plank. Now you could add more support by crossing your right shin to the right, perpendicular to your mat. Raise your left arm to the sky so that you're stacking your shoulders and wrists. Then push the ground away and feel space within your right shoulder joint. Let your weight spread out through your fingertips of your right hand so as not to burden your wrists with all the weight. Now, if you want to challenge your balance a little more, you can lift your left ankle to the height of your left hip, flexing the foot like a kneeling version of half moon pose. Or you could add bending your left knee towards your belly, catching the top of your left foot or ankle, and kicking the leg towards straight as you feel that your center is that's here. Re-straighten your left leg if it's bent, and decide how you want to come into lizard lunge. Either first, lower your left hand, then step your left foot forward outside of it, or start with the foot first if you want that added challenge in transition. Both hands inside of your left leg. Flex your left foot here and splay open your left thigh. And then notice what variation your body's calling for on this side. Perhaps you add some depth to the hip opener and come down to your forearms. Maybe you add a twist, pressing your left hand gently onto your inner left thigh as you look behind your left shoulder. Maybe you add a quadricep stretch for your right leg, bending your right knee. And if it's reachable, backstroking your left arm, catching hold of the top of your right foot. Let's take 4 more breaths. releasing your legs. Let's begin to walk up to the top of your mat, entering Uttanasana, standing forward fold with your feet hips width apart, parallel. Feel free to bend your knees any amount that your spine needs in order to lengthen. Shift a little more weight towards the balls of your feet. Activate the edges of your feet onto your thighs. Then press with your fingertips on the ground ahead or your shins. And as you breathe in, firm in your belly and lift your chest, looking forward, halfway up. Exhale, hinge a little deeper from your hips. From down to your feet, inhale, rise, sweeping your arms overhead as you stand. Palms touch in mountain pose. Exhale, land your arms by your sides, palms facing forward, Tadasana. Sun salutation A, inhale, sweep the space around you, gaze up. Exhale, bow forward from your hips. Inhale, press with your fingertips and lengthen your spine. Carefully step into your version of plank, legs straight or knees down, and glide forward as you breathe out. Bend your elbows close to your sides, passing Chaturanga. Lower all the way down for Cobra, or flip your toes halfway down and upward facing dog. Breathe in. Exhale, lift your pelvis high. Draw your sitting bones back into downward facing dog. Let's take about 5 breaths. If you're needing to shift around on the first one, feel free. Otherwise, steady your body and your gaze. Notice that you have plenty of room in your neck and shoulders as you rotate your triceps towards the floor and stabilize with your hands, rooting down especially between thumb and index. Let's take one more sun salutation A. With bent knees, look forward of your hands. On emptied exhale, walk or float to the top of your mat. Breathe in, press with your hands to lengthen your spine forward. Breathe out to bow again. Inhale, root down and rise tall, sweeping your arms overhead. Exhale, trace your midline with your thumbs and release your hands. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep your arms. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Step to plank, or this time lightly Dandasana. Flowing through your own vinyasa, Cobra or upward dog. Let's meet in downward facing dog, this time holding still right away. We're gonna start a vinyasa flow, so let's set the route slowly. As you inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhaling, bend your right knee, then turn open at your hip. As you breathe in, exhale, gently step your right foot forward inside of your right hand so your feet are hips width apart in a high lunge. Stay high on the ball of your left foot. Energize your legs. Imagine as though you're dragging your feet towards each other. With your legs stable, press into the ground with your feet and slowly lift your torso upright, arms overhead in crescent lunge. Let's feel the alignment here. You might bend your left knee, especially in the first one, so that you can orient your tailbone towards the ground and your frontal hip bone slightly up towards your front ribs. Gently scissoring your right hip back and left hip forward. Feel that the bowl shape of your pelvis is balanced and upright. Arms overhead, lengthening the sides of your torso, relax your shoulders. And then steadying your eyes as you hear the steadiness of your breath. Now join your hands together at your heart. Lean forward as we enter Warrior 3. Option to modify it by lowering your hands on blocks or the floor, 1 foot in front of your right toes. Drag your left toes forward. Align your spine and left leg parallel to the floor as you square your hips. Breathe. Here, feel that same balance in your pelvis. Left hip pointing towards the ground, right hip drawing back. Navel drawing in, chest forward. Entering half moon pose, bring your left hand to your left hip And lower your right hand on the upper right corner from your right pinky toe about 6 inches forward, maybe on a block. As you press your left heel back, turn your chest to face your left wall. So naturally your left shoulder stacks above your right shoulder, above your right wrist. You have the option of raising your left arm too, maybe looking up. So press your right hip back. Notice how this is similar to that modified side plank we did standing on our knee in the beginning. Take another in-breath, expand. And as you exhale, bend your right knee and softly step your left foot towards the rear of your mat into Warrior Two. Aligning your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot, arms wide open. Feel Warrior Two, that your right outer hip wraps slightly under your body. Your front knee stacks just above the heel, facing forward. The top of your left thigh bone firms in towards the right edge of your mat. And your spine is upright as you steady your gaze past your right hand. Deep inhale, Warrior Two. Then straighten your right leg and glide forward through your right arm, lowering your right hand on your right leg or just to the outside of it, triangle pose. With left arm up towards the sky, feel again the stacking of your shoulders and your wrists. Turn your chest slightly up, maybe even gaze up. Feel the stability through both of your feet and your belly hugging your spine. From triangle pose, sweep your left arm overhead and look down at your right foot. Lower into plank and exhale through Chaturanga Dandasana. Right into your Vinyasa Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale back to Downward Facing Dog. Let's take a lion's breath. Deeply inhale. Open your eyes and mouth wide. Stick out your tongue. Spread your fingers flat. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhaling, bend your left knee and turn open at your hip. Inhale, tack your right hip further back. Then exhale, slowly step your left foot just inside of your left hand, entering a high lunge with your feet hips width apart, parallel. Energize your legs like you're dragging your feet towards each other so that you can root down to rise up to crescent lunge. Now here on the first one, you might bend your right knee to help you orient the bowl shape of your pelvis, more upright and balanced facing forward. Feel the length of your arms, drawing length down your side waist. Calm, deep breaths. From crescent lunge, join your hands at your heart and tilt your spine forward. Keep the belly engaged as you flex your right foot off the floor, entering Warrior Three. Option to modify by placing your hands on the ground or blocks, 1 foot ahead of your left toes. But as you turn your right hip bone to face the ground, tack your left outer hip back and broaden your chest forward like plank pose. Take another deep breath. Entering half moon, you might bring your right hand to your right hip. Place your left hand on the ground or block, upper left corner from your left pinky toe, about 6 inches forward. Flex your right heel back as you turn your chest completely to face your right wall. Notice your 2 shoulders stack above your left wrist. Maybe even raise your right arm. Maybe look up. Let's take another inhalation to expand in all directions that your body is lengthening. Slowly step into Warrior Two as you exhale, bending your left knee. Softly land your right foot towards the rear of your mat. Heel to arch, arms wide open. Feel your left outer hip wrap underneath your body as you firm the top of your right thigh bone towards the left edge of your mat. With your pelvis upright, neutral, your left knee stacking just above the ankle, facing forward. Feel the full length of your spine and your breath. Steady your gaze just past your left hand for 2 more breaths. Let's Let's exhale into triangle pose. Straighten your left leg, glide your hips back. Reach your left hand forward, then down onto your leg, or just to the left of your leg. As you raise your right arm, stack your shoulders and wrists in one line and spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Draw your tailbone towards your right heel and breathe. Sweep your right arm overhead, look down at your left foot. And as you exhale, land your hands in plank, continue down to Chaturanga. Entering your own vinyasa, let's meet in downward facing dog. Three to 5 deep breaths. Find a focus point for your eyes. Feel the movement of render. So let's take this from the top, flow through it a couple more times. Bring the element of surrender. Grace comes. Here we go. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, bend your right. Inhale, draw your hip back. Exhale, lightly step your right foot forward. Lunge. Inhale, root down and rise to crescent pose. Join your hands and exhale, lean into warrior 3. Flexing your left foot. Exhale, right hand down, left arm up if you like, or on your hip, half moon pose. Bend your right knee, softly step back to warrior 2. Straighten your right leg, reach your right hand forward, then down, triangle pose. Sweep your left arm overhead and lower from plank through your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Hearing the presence of your breath, refine the qualities in it to affect body. So inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn open at your hip. Inhale, tack your right hip back. Exhale, softly land your left foot forward into a high lunge. Inhale, root down to rise, crescent pose. Exhale, lean forward and enter warrior 3. Inhale, left hand down, right arm to your hip or the sky, half moon pose. Exhale, softly land warrior 2. Inhale, straighten your left leg, reach forward and down to triangle pose. Exhale, right arm overhead, lower from plank through Chaturanga, and continue your own flow. Whether it's child's pose or downward dog, take 3 to 5 deep breaths. Releasing expectation or resistance. Find that render. Last time, a moving meditation from downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right. Exhale, bend the knee, turn at your. Inhale, tack your left hip back. Exhale, step your right foot inside of right, high lunge. Inhale, rise to crescent pose. Exhale, shift forward to warrior 3. Inhale, open to the left into half moon pose. Exhale, step back to warrior 2. Inhale, straighten your right leg, lean forward and down to triangle pose. Exhale, left arm overhead from plank, take it into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. I'll raise your left leg. Exhale, bend your knee, open at the hip. Inhale, tack your right hip back. Exhale, slowly land your left foot inside of your left hand, high lunge. Inhale, rise, crescent pose. Exhale, shift forward, warrior three. Inhale, open to the right, half moon pose. Exhale, step back, warrior two. Inhale, straighten your left leg, reach forward and down, triangle pose. Reach the right arm overhead and exhale from plank into your own vinyasa. We'll meet in child's pose or downward facing dog for 5 deep breaths. Allow your breath in completely. And allow your breath to release. Bend your knees, look ahead of your hands. The bottom of your exhale, softly land your feet together at the top of your mat. Breathe in to lengthen forward. Breathe out to fold. From down to your feet, inhale, rise up. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your midline. So preparing for hand to big toe pose. Let's grab a strap. So we'll come from using the strap with the option of removing the strap, as it's sometimes a helpful way to modify. As I face you, I'm going to mirror you. All of your right foot into the strap. Hold the strap just in your right hand and stand in mountain pose with your feet touching, left hand on your left hip. Now notice as your 2 feet are on the ground, the positioning of your 2 hip bones, generally same height, right? Navel draws in and up. So you feel this aliveness at your center, just below your belly button. And then you're pushing the ground away so that sense of rooting down allows this confidence to lift up. Feel the breath flow, balanced. Now steady your gaze on something that's not moving and shift your weight into your left foot. As soon as you lift your right leg, flex the foot like you're kicking the strap away as your right hand walks closer to your right foot, bending your right knee to the height of your hip. Bring your hand as close as you can to your right foot on the strap. So you're actively pulling the strap towards you as you're kicking the strap away with your right foot. So feel those counter actions to help your spine to stay upright, your pelvis to stay upright. As you breathe here, begin to extend your right leg forward, only the amount that allows your shoulders to evenly stack above your hips. So this right shoulder bone, sometimes you'll feel like it's pulled out of socket. Then draw that shoulder back in and down. So you're creating stability in the joints. Press the ground away and stand tall. Now we're gonna turn out the right leg at the hip. Keep flexing the foot, keep pulling the strap, and only open your right leg the degree that allows your spine to stay upright, your pelvis, as you open your left arm. If you start to feel like you're tilting like this, then bend your knee a little or bring your leg more towards the middle. So you're, again, that truth. In, breathe out. So the option to not use the strap would be if you can clasp your big toe and you're doing the same thing. You're kicking the foot into your hand and you're pulling the big toe towards you. So there's that yin and yang that's in pretty much every active posture. Let's take a couple more breaths. This is hand to big toe pose, or Utthita Hasta Parangushtasana. Slowly bring your right leg forward, left arm up. Get really tall as you relax your shoulders. Breathe here. One more deep breath. And then gently set your right foot down and come back to mountain pose. Just take a moment if you need to shake out your left foot or stretch the ankle. Deep breath in. Feel the release to your exhale. All right, let's start with the strap on side 2, stepping the ball of your left foot into it. Hold the strap just in your left hand and bring your right hand to your Start with your feet touching in mountain pose. So you're feeling a sense of hugging your midline from the left and right sides of your body, even your hips. Feel your lower belly draw in, lift up, pelvic floor rising, soles of the feet grounding. Then bend your left knee about the height of your left hip, flexing the foot. So you're already playing that sort of tug of war with your left foot with a strap. Walk your left hand as close to your foot as you can on the strap and pull the strap as you kick the leg towards straight. Now, it doesn't have to be completely straight. Just find the degree that allows, again, for your two hips to stay balanced, your two shoulders stay balanced, and your spine vertical. Now, notice your breathing here. Don't go any further if the breathing has stopped or become choppy. If it's still balanced, turn out your left leg, open your right arm, and explore the amount that you could open your left leg while maintaining the strength of your center line. Meaning your spine is still upright, your shoulders and hips are still balanced. Let's take a few more breaths here. So again, you could clasp your big toe if it's reachable and still allows you to be upright. Then slowly bring your left leg forward, gaze forward. Reach your right arm to the sky. Let's take a few breaths here. Feel your midline and how you're hugging in towards it. Feel the ground and how you're rooting down and rising from it. Notice your center alive and strong. And then when you're ready, slowly step your left foot down. Maybe give your right foot some shake. And let's step to the middle of the mat, come into a wide-legged squat. Turn out your legs from your hips. I'm gonna take a little side-to-side half squat. So make sure that your center of your kneecaps continue to point in the same direction as the center toe under it, no matter the turnout of your legs. This is for knee alignment health. So start to bend your left knee. You might have to slide your feet a little wider apart. Curl up your right toes. So you're flexing the foot, engaging your thighs for stability. You can keep your hands on your hips. If it's reachable, you can place your hands on blocks or the floor, or join your hands at heart center. Let's take a few breaths here. Spine as upright as you can, shoulders relaxed. Let's pass through center in a wide-legged squat as we transition to the opposite side. So legs are turned out, knees in line with middle toes. Curl up your left toes, flex that left foot, and then hands on hips, hands on blocks or the ground, or hands together at the heart. Feel your chest lift, your shoulders descend. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then back to the center squat. Place your hands on your inner thighs, and then lift your chest and crown. Breathe in. Rotate your chest to the left for a spinal twist. Look over your left shoulder. Let's take a few breaths here. Come back through center with a long spine. Inhale. And look over your right shoulder. Exhale, twist. A few breaths. Keep splaying your inner thighs apart. Come back through center, rising all the way up. Step or jump your feet together, and let's come down to hands and knees. So entering an inversion, let's begin in dolphin pose, and then we'll have a minute after that to either practice more dolphin poses, downward dog, or perhaps headstand. So dolphin, set your elbows on the floor exactly shoulders distance. If your mat is slippery, it can be helpful to interlace your fingers. Ground through your forearms, your elbows, and draw your shoulders back. Be mindful of maintaining space in your neck. Now, head is just hanging. You could be just letting it go, or you could actively look forward, but you're not bearing any weight on your head in dolphin pose. Then tuck your toes and lift your hips like downward dog. Bring your feet together And if you're able to, walk your feet forward even closer to your elbows while pressing your chest back towards your shins, lifting your shoulders up away from your neck. How's your breathing? Anytime that you're ready to rest, make your way into child's pose. But if you could explore further here, try lifting one leg up, flexing that foot, and hugging your midline with your legs. Imagine Warrior 3, where you were conscious of keeping your hips balanced, not turning out the hip of your lifted leg. Now you might come to rest first or stay a little longer here and do the second side. Make sure if you lift one leg, you do the same amount on the other side. So from here, continue 1 or 2 more rounds of dolphin, just another minute more. Maybe downward facing dog, maybe a standing forward fold or headstand. And if the latter is Shirshasana, I'll walk you through that. And if you want to be by wall, you could bring your interlaced fingers a few inches away from the wall. Just remember when you're getting into headstand to not kick up. We don't want to swing our weight up, as the what do you call it, suspension will be our neck. So we don't want to bring that heavy weight like plop on our neck. We want to slowly tilt the pelvic bowl upside down. And that's a lot of engaging the belly and using your flexed feet. So crown of the head to the floor if you're going into headstand. Interlace the fingers so the palms are sort of a support for the back of your skull. Honor the natural length of your neck. So if you have neck issues, do not go into headstand. Coming into headstand, walk your feet forward like you're preparing for dolphin, and then flex your lifted foot. Keep your lifted leg straight and allow your pelvis to start tilting upside down, like you're literally turning a bowl of soup upside down. And feel the stacking of your ankles as you hug your feet together, flexed. You're lifting the balls of your feet up towards the sky, right above your pelvis, right above your shoulders, right above your elbows. Here you're pressing the ground away with your forearms and maintaining the space in your neck and the natural curve of your neck. Front ribs are hugging in as the belly is active. When you decide to come down, you could bend your knees and slowly lower both feet at the same time, or boat pose, or 1 foot at a time. But be mindful of your transitions both in and out. Try to make them as slow and mindful as possible. And let's ultimately meet in child's pose. Any version of child's pose. From child's pose, extend your arms forward and slither onto your belly for 2 rounds of bow dhanurasana. A back bend. So bring your knees as close together as possible as your hands down. And then bend your knees, reach your hands back and catch your outer feet. Keep your knees no wider apart than your hips distance as you ground your pubic bone. Kick your legs towards straight while pulling your feet towards your pelvis. Coiling your chest up, look slightly down, and broaden your chest, sliding your shoulder blades down. Take another 5 full breaths. We've got 1 more after this. Once you've let it all go, turn your head to one side and pigeon toe your feet. Take 3 slow exhalations to your mouth. Breathe into your belly. And let's set up for one last dhanurasana or bow. Scoot your knees as close together as you can to start. Catch hold of your outer feet, press your pubic bone down, kick your legs towards straight, so feel the counter forces as you pull the feet towards your glutes, and then coil your chest up. Slide your shoulders down, and notice here if anything feels like it's gripping unnecessarily, like if facial muscles start to tense or the breath starts to become violent. Can you find where in the spectrum of effort from 0 to 10 you need to be so that there is balance in your exertion and surrender? When you feel like you're done, perhaps turn your head to the opposite side and either pigeon toe your feet again or windshield wiper your shins to help loosen your lower back. Breathe out through your mouth again 3 times. Inhale into your belly. And then plant your hands on the floor to slowly rise to sit. Extending your left leg forward, cross your right thigh over the left. So cow face pose, half cow face pose. Flexing your left foot, we're gonna enter a forward fold. So if you'd like to use your strap, you can step the ball of your left foot into the strap. Otherwise, frame your left leg with your hands. Sit tall, open your chest and throat. And as you breathe out, slowly bow forward, little by little. If you're catching hold of your left foot, bend your elbows and try to find a little lift in your chest. Well, either way, try to do this to your chest. And free your neck. Let your shoulders soften down. Last 2 breaths. Lead from your chest. Inhale to rise up. Straighten your right leg, cross your left thigh as much as you can over the right leg, and use your strap if you want, or frame your leg with your hands. Lift your chest, open your throat, breathe in, and then slowly fold in each exhalation. Feel a slight lift of your chest as you lift the chin naturally away from it. Your shoulders release down your back. Collarbones wide open. Last 2 breaths. On your next inhale, lead with your chest to rise up. And let's come all the way down onto our backs. So choose your cooling inversion. If you have a block, you could elevate your sacrum on it and lift your legs straight up like a supported shoulder stand. If you have no neck or shoulder injuries and you know how to safely practice shoulder stand, maybe you have a blanket under your upper back and shoulders. Take your shoulder stand and make sure that you try to get your pelvis right above your shoulders. Again, it's that vertical stacking of ankles, pelvis, shoulders, chin slightly tilted back, head still. Protect your neck. Maybe coming into plow, legs overhead. Take a few breaths to carefully lower your spine, then your pelvis. And we'll end in fish pose just before Shavasana. So as you're lowering your legs onto the ground, bring your feet together. but relax them. Legs straight ahead. Slip your palms face down under your glutes so that thumbs meet to touch. Then tilt your chin back, puffing up your chest. You might even bring the crown of your head to the floor, lifting your shoulders. Forearms and elbows pressing the ground. Take a deep breath in, open your mouth wide, stick out your tongue, lion's breath. Take at least 3 more deep exhalations here. Before you slowly lower your spine, release your arms out from underneath. Maybe just a gentle moving twist, dropping your knees side to side, or hugging your knees together into your chest. Before you carefully land your body into a resting position, Shavasana, for the next few minutes. Gently begin to let your body move. You might keep your eyes closed as you eventually turn over to one side. Then slowly rise into a comfortable seat. You're staying for our 5 minutes of silent meditation. I invite you to the practice of mindful meditation in which you sit with a commitment to practice observing your thoughts from a neutral stance without judgment, as well as redirecting your attention back to observing your thoughts when you start to become pulled into the past or the future and out of the present. Remember that it's a constant practice. There's no perfect meditation. Being here is the practice. I'm going to set the timer now for 5 minutes. feeling your environment around you. Regain your awareness here. And slowly bring your palms to meet at your heart as you lift your heart, broaden the space around it, and bow in to greet it. Remembering that this practice of observing your thoughts is really just coming back to the seat of who you are. Not your thoughts, not your body, but this consciousness, this infinite, pure awareness that connects us all. Let's close the practice with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.